Hey Canucks fans, let's look back at last night's game and let's look ahead at round 2 against the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. This is my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Saturday, August the 22nd. This is where you get Canucks insight that's positive and timely. Speaking of positive, but maybe not so timely, thanks to everyone who joined me on my post-game live stream last night. We started late. We started at 11:30 at night because I was emceeing an event prior to that. But 11:30 went to about 1:15 in the morning, an hour and 45 minutes, and there are more than 100 of you waiting for me, or there, at least there by the time we reached our peak. That's at least 100 people that had nothing better to do, or you waited around for me, or whatever the reason was, maybe a combination of both. I appreciate you, and you guys know that I don't take you for granted. We had some great conversation, and as expected, it was very lively and very positive in there. So can't wait to do more of that. The next one will be tomorrow night after game 1 against Vegas. Get to that in a second. Last night's game, wow. Brandon Sutter, 3 assists. Jay Beagle, 2 points. Tyler Mott, 2 points. So our bottom 6 really contributed. Our top players played well again. Pettersson with 2 points, even though he was saddled with Eriksson and Pearson for a lot of the game, still found a way to get 2 points. And then Besser, Miller, and Horvat, especially Miller and Horvat, they really keyed in on Ryan O'Reilly. You know, didn't neutralize him completely. Ryan O'Reilly is too good. He still has some chances. But overall, when you have 2 of your best two-way players, Miller and Horvat, they were assigned with that task, and they did a pretty good job. Jacob Markstrom, solid as always. Such a difference when you look at the difference between him and then Binnington and Allen. And I was actually okay with St. Louis's decision to go with Binnington, not because we lit him up, but you got to give him the respect and give him a chance to help you win, stave off elimination and win some games. So overall, a really spirited, energetic, the Canucks were the hungrier team, and it showed. And I was so excited, even though I couldn't watch the game live, watched the whole game on PVR. So I went to bed around 3:30 last night, but that's okay because it was worth watching the game and listening to all the post-game reaction afterwards. The St. Louis post-game reaction, you guys, I know I've tweeted about this and talked about this before. I don't expect them to kiss the Canucks' feet, but I do expect them to give the Canucks some respect. And they gave muted respect to the Canucks. It would always be, yeah, they're a good, young, fast team, but this is what we did wrong. Or they're a good team over there, but this is how we gave it to them. So, like I said, a bit of a muted respect. They kind of gave Canucks respect, but then they qualified it with what they did or didn't do, which is fine. Proud athletes, and we are the ones moving on, and they aren't. A couple other things. I noticed a lot of St. Louis fans saying, well, we won the Cup last year, and then this year the Cup is kind of have an asterisk beside it because it's a weird season. The first part I get. I think if I was a Blues fan, I would be saying the same thing. You know, the Canucks, they're just moving on. They still have a 1 in 8 chance. They might get pummeled by Vegas, but we still have our Cup from last year, and that's something you can't take away. So I get that part of the sentiment for sure. The part about, though, this Cup's going to mean different, or it's going to look a little different. Yeah, it's going to look a little different for sure. But arguably, it will be harder to win this Cup this year with the compressed schedule, with everyone healthy to start the play-in round, and with no families, with bubble life. That's tough. I get it. There's no travel, so that's a huge difference. But they're playing a lot of games in a short amount of time to try and get things done. So I'd argue it's just as tough, if not tougher, to win this season than in other seasons. But that's what the St. Louis Blues fans can talk about for the next few months while we are still playing at least for another round. Before I get to the Vegas Golden Knights, a couple other things that I just realized this morning that's pretty cool, that we are 1 in 8 teams remaining. We're one of the best 8 teams in the league. That first round draft pick that New Jersey has of ours in the JT Miller trade, it gets pushed further and further down. Now it's in the mid-20s. That's awesome. We're the only Canadian team left standing, whether you care about that kind of thing. Quinn Hughes is still a rookie and doing amazing things. And we are only 12 wins away from seeing Jeff Patterson in one of my Canucks parody songs. So that's kind of cool as well. Lastly, and then I'll finally talk about the series against Vegas. There's been a lot of talk, and I can already anticipate a lot of talk about, oh, I've been a fan for this long, or I've seen this team through thick and thin, or I spend this much money on the team because I'm a season ticket holder, and all those things are fine. But I've always said it doesn't matter if you've been a fan for 5 decades, 5 years, 5 months, 5 weeks. 5 hours seems a little bit too extreme. But it doesn't matter if you're on the fan wagon or the bandwagon, like I like to say. There's room for everyone on both. And I think this is an exciting time for people to be Canucks fans. We're the furthest we've been in the playoffs since 2011, almost an entire decade. That is something to get excited about. Okay, the Vegas Golden Knights. They are tough. I said St. Louis was kind of a better team than Minnesota. I like kind of a ramped up Minnesota. Imagine Vegas as being a ramped up St. Louis. They are just as big with guys like Reeves and Carrier and Tuck. They are just as skilled, and they're just as fast, especially in their bottom six, a bunch of speedsters. Their goaltending is way better than St. Louis, obviously with Lehner and Marc-Andre Fleury. That's going to be a fascinating matchup, them against Markstrom. And then I think if there's one weakness on their team, it might be their D, but it's not even a weakness. I just think it's not as strong as their goaltending or their forwards because, yes, you have good players like Shea Theodore, you have Schmidt, and you have McNabb, among others, and Alec Martinez. So not bad top four. Maybe you could say on paper they're a bit better than the Canucks top four, but I still think maybe that's the one part of the team that the Canucks can expose with their skilled and speedy forwards. So we shall see about that. But you look at the top six of Vegas, so much skill there. When you have guys like Carlson with Pacioretty and Stone, that is a scary first line. Mark Stone, we saw Ryan O'Reilly as a great two-way player. Mark Stone is just as good of a two-way player with even more offense. So that's going to be a handful for the Canucks. Maybe you keep Miller and Horvat together to counteract that line. Second line, a lot of skill there with Stastny between Marchessault and Smith. So that's a really, really challenging top six. Arguably a better top six than St. Louis, and a good matchup for our top six. Speaking of top six, does Tyler Foley come in? If so, who does he come in for? I say Louis Eriksson. So that's one thing to think about. And then will we see Tyler Myers? Will he get in either before or after Toffoli? So those are two players. And of course, then it would be Fantenberg or Ben will have to come out. One of them will play the left side when Myers comes in for the right side. So I think those are two major personnel storylines that we're going to have to look at is when will Tyler Toffoli come back? When will Tyler Myers come back? Hopefully Tyler Mott doesn't get hurt. No, I don't believe in jinxes, but it seems like everyone named Tyler is getting hurt for the Canucks. So Tyler Gravac, hopefully, he's a black ace, so we don't have to worry about him as much. But yes, I think those are two storylines that we want to keep an eye on for sure. What's my prediction? Well, before the postseason started, I did say the Canucks would win two series. I said they'd win the play-in against Minnesota, which they did, and then I said they'd win the first round, which they did. But the way the Canucks are playing, I don't think it's far-fetched to say they have a 50-50 chance in this next series against Vegas. And sure, a lot of things got to go right. You got to get good goaltending. You got to get good special teams. You got to stay healthy. Your blue line's got to be solid. Your top six has got to play like a top six, and your bottom six has to contribute. And those are six things that need to go well. But I think any hockey team, every hockey team, would say that those six things need to go well. So if the Canucks can do that, I give them more than just a passing chance. I give them a fighter's chance. I give them a 50-50 chance because they are playing just as well as anyone else that's still in the bubble right now. So I'm going to say the Canucks are going to win in 7. That is my prediction. So I'm going Vancouver in 7. I'm going Colorado in 6 over Dallas. I think there's too much firepower. I'm going to go Tampa over Boston in 6. I like Tampa a lot. They're my third favorite team behind Vancouver and Winnipeg. And then I'm going to say the Flyers over the Islanders in 7. It may be the most sneaky, underrated, entertaining series of the second round, along with Vancouver, Vegas, of course. So again, my final four are Vancouver, Colorado, Tampa, and Philadelphia. I like those predictions. I hope they stand. Obviously, especially the Vancouver one. I went 6 for 8 in the first round, which was much better than my pitiful 2 for 8 showing in the qualifying round. In the qualifying round, I think the only ones I got right were Vancouver and the Islanders. So I went 2 for 8, and then in the first round, the only ones I got wrong is I had Carolina over Boston. I guess I was hoping, and I did have Washington over the Islanders. So that's why I went 6 for 8 as opposed to 2 for 8. So I'm hoping to go 4 for 4. But really, if I go 1 for 4, I'll be fine with that as long as the one is indeed the Vancouver Canucks. Okay, so Canucks fans, there's a lot here today. Maybe the question of the day is, what's your prediction for the series for Vancouver versus Vegas? But there's so many things that we can talk about. Talk to me about the Vegas top 6. Talk to me about the challenge that they pose for the Vancouver Canucks. Talk about your highlights from the Vancouver-St. Louis series. Last thing I'll say about Vegas really quickly, I think we've never beaten them in regulation in 3 seasons. That's kind of scary. But this season, we went 1-1 with them. We split games in the span of a week. We played them in Vegas, lost 6-3, kind of got pummeled. And then a couple days later, 5 days later, there was a game against Montreal in between. We then beat them 5-4 at home in a very back-and-forth game, one of the best games of the year. I was there. beat them 5-4 in overtime. Unfortunately, that's the game that Josh Levo broke his kneecap, and he's still out, as we know. But at least it showed that we can beat Vegas, even if it took a little bit of an extra time to do so. But in the playoffs, who cares if it takes 5 overtimes, 1 overtime, or regulation? A win is a win, and we only need 12 more of them. But let's concentrate on one. Let's concentrate on the win we need to get tomorrow night when they kick off their series against Vegas in Game 1. Canucks fans, let me know what you think. Leave a comment below about anything I talked about, but most importantly, what's your prediction for this second round series, Vancouver against Vegas? I would love to read, react, and reply. As always, subscribe if you like to, like this video if you like to. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. God bless, and go Canucks go.